Hello and welcome to another episode of Henry Kissinger is Pokemon Going to Die? Not a Threat.
Just a fact.
I'm Lauren, and it has been 10 episodes since I've been on last. I'm so happy to be back, and my nickname is Bland is the New Sexy.
All right.
Just sort of a Buttigieg, just sort of a Mayor Pete.
Oh, gotcha. Sort of a Mayor Pete one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Alex, aka King Bedtime Go Nine Eye.
And welcome to this episode, which you've actually clicked on the first inaugural episode of the Starbucks Coffee Chat, which is where your two barista hosts will discuss frappuccinos for 3 hours and how much they suck to make. And we're so happy you could join us for this one here today.
Yeah. So, of the three summer frappuccinos, which one do you hate the most?
Do I hate the most? I think like the mocha cookie is the biggest one that's a scam to me because it's just Java chip with cookies on top, but it tastes good.
Yeah, it does taste good. I think the caramel ribbon crunch is a coward. Just like,
ooh, a coward. Elaborate on that.
I don't know. It feels like neither a ribbon nor a crunch.
Yeah, it's not much of a like. At least s'mores is like an impact statement. You know, it's like I have several different things different about me. Caramel ribbon crunch, whack.
The marshmallow whip is genuinely very good.
It is. It is. I'm excited to be at work at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and just in order to cope, just directly whipped cream into the mouth, just sort of. Because
I just got a text.
Oh yeah.
The segment's canceled. We can't do this anymore.
Oh, we can't. Why not?
It's from Brookspot, and he says no.
Oh, that's fine. Well, thank you, Brookspot, for your input, as always. And onions are good, so fuck you. Anyway.
True.
Welcome, actually, to this episode of Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die, which is never, ever a threat, and it's just a fact. And...
It is.
I guess I don't know what to do other than to get, like, into the shit.
Yeah, I guess... Well, Jacob Wohl watch. Jacob Wohl watch. Jacob Wohl watch.
We've got a Jacob Wohl watch here, folks.
Folks, it's Jacob Wohl time, and he's at it again with being a scammer, on camera.
Yeah, just kind of openly talking about how much he enjoys lying to people and about political candidates. It's good.
Yeah. So. Will Summer on Twitter at Will Summer has reported a few days ago now. This is a bit of an older story, but we missed last week, so we can talk about it. Mm-hmm. That Jacob Wohl attempted to convince a man to come forward with an allegation about Pete Buttigieg. Is that how it's said?
Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, who is boring, but he's a gay candidate for president.
Yep.
And Jacob Wohl thought this was a great opportunity to try to pay someone to come forward with a false allegation about him.
Mm-hmm. And he did. He did something. He allegedly, I guess, did something similar with Robert Mueller not too long ago, where he was like trying to pay people to, you know, bring up sexual assault allegations and like discredit him.
Yeah. And I think it's good to remind everyone that Jacob Wohl is the youngest person ever to be banned from futures trading.
He did it! Congratulations.
He's a wunderkind.
So I was catching up on this story, and a couple of days ago, Will Summer, who's at the Daily Beast, he actually reported that they got a hold of a fundraising document that makes it look like that apparently says that Jacob Wohl and the lobbyist who he's kind of been working with to create these stories are trying to make a think tank, and it would literally his quote in the piece is to make shit up, to like voters, essentially to like discredit Democrats and like have lower turnout in 2020. And so it seems that our watch here is evidence of the fact that Jacob Wohl is very, very bad at crime, and he keeps breaking the Stringer Bell rule, which is you don't take notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy. So
he's just bad at crime.
He's bad at crime, and it is like, to be like, God, what kind of like evil person must you be to think like, you know, all of these people are coming forward with these stories. Let's just like make one up just because, you know, because we don't want the Democrats to be excited about anything.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, like,
just
if
so
he was a
evil.
leftist doing that, it'd be fine.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Jacob Wohl, enemy of the show.
Yeah,
hell.
that's a hot take, but you've heard it here first, everybody. Jacob Wohl. Fuck that guy. I mean,
well, he's literally an enemy of the show because of his spat with Caroline.
Oh, that's true. I totally forgot. Oh my God, that was a good day on Twitter, because it
sure
was
was.
an elderly woman got very mad at me, she wrote a poem about how terrible I was. It was a good day. It was somebody's aunt going after me because Jacob Wohl was mean to Caroline, and
that's amazing.
it was pretty good. And now Jacob Wohl is banned from Twitter because even Twitter was like, maybe this guy.
Yeah, which you gotta be pretty bad to be banned from Twitter.
Right. God, what was that thing that happened recently that Jack was like in conversation with Donald Trump about him? He's like, I'm losing followers. And Jack is like, okay.
Apologies, sir.
I'm so sorry, sir.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was before the last episode and if it was mentioned before, but there was a quote from Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter or whatever, saying, the reason that we can't apply white nationalist banning rules in the U.S. is because that would disqualify some Republican candidates from having a platform on Twitter, which makes you think about who the Republican candidates are.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm really getting thinky about it, actually. Wow. Kind of.
I'm thinky.
I'm?
What I'm thinking?
When I'm on Twitter and I decide that, you know, certain, you know, if I'm going to block people, I definitely, when I look at the Republican candidates and I look at the neo-Nazis, and they have similar things, but like, you know, open discourse. So, so impossible to say if it's good or bad from Jack, actually.
It is, because he is protecting Ray Romano. So...
Can we free Roy, please?
Well, Roy get Cloud Recess's pod account back, so maybe that's a start.
Yes, it is a start, and that's a relief. So I can't believe that Ray Romano is a protected class on Twitter, and non-white people are not. So
yeah, I mean, I can.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. But moving on, I guess, to one of the biggest stories, I guess, that matters to for a bunch of reasons in the past couple weeks is the Caster Semenya story, which, if you don't know, she is a South African runner, a very, very good athlete who has been in a legal battle with the International Association of Athletics Federation over whether her quote-unquote abnormally high testosterone levels should disqualify her from running in female events. Right. And it turns out they should, because the IAAF is a delicious combination of racist, sexist, transphobic, etc. Right. Homophobic, because she's very gay. But yeah, so this ruling that basically says she has to take anti-androgen drugs to qualify for female events.
God.
Only apply to her events that she's running in, so they're like very transparently targeted.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and this people have rightly made the comparison to Michael Phelps.
Right. Yeah.
Was found to have a mutation which made him have a very low lactic acid count, which makes him like a very good athlete. And
Right.
the IAAF was like, "Wow, that's good for you. Like, great, you're a great athlete genetically."
Mm-hmm.
And but when it's a black woman, a black cis woman with high testosterone count, who people have been fear-mongering about her being transgender apparently for years. I haven't heard about this before, but apparently this isn't a new thing.
Yeah, I think every time, I think the Summer Olympics, every time she's competed, I think in the Olympics, there's been like discussion of the fact like she's undergone this kind of like genetic testing, like really invasive stuff before to like make sure that she can qualify for these, you know, female events. But like, yeah, it's like an ongoing discussion of the fact that she's being targeted by I think there's I don't even really want to look up her name because she sucks, but one of the other runners who lost to Castor in a race, she came in sixth and is like was very, very butthurt about the fact that she lost so badly, and so kind of became like one of the arbiters of the case. And it's just very clear that they've had it out for her for a really long time. Because she's you're right. It's the difference in between the way that Michael Phelps, who is an American white guy who can do sponsorship deals and, you know, is like a all-American kid, and he can have a biological advantage, quote unquote, but Castor has to undergo really horrible invasive testing and scrutiny because of the way her body is. Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe we have to like spread a misinformation campaign about lactic acid having to do with lactation, and then because that's funny, women do lactation and not men ever, then they would stop Michael Phelps from competing.
That would be,
I think that
interesting.
It'd be funny. Yeah,
it would be funny, and it would be like we could also like take out the fact, like, because he used to do, I remember, sponsorships for like Subway, so we could be like, Subway gives you titties.
Subway, it's free estrogen.
Oh man, if only. That'd be great. If everybody, like, we could just, you go to Subway for your estrogen, and then maybe like Baskin Robbins for testosterone. Like, I feel like that would be, that's how we solve these issues in the world, I think. Is just like, have a snack, and you're good.
Have a snack, blow out your back. With how big your breasts are, I don't mean having sex. Come on.
You just get giant Bahamamungas, and it's all thanks to our dear friends at Subway.
Thank you, Subway.
Thank you so much, Subway. It's SB Nation, I think, has a really good article about like, hey, here are like several reasons why this ruling is absolute bullshit, and kind of like breaking down the fact that it's very not even trying to hide the fact that it's discriminatory. And it's good that so many people are like, hey, actually, fuck this. Castor is, you know, winning her races and is like a treasure of South Africa, I think is the way they described her. And Nike, go ahead. I think
it's worth pointing out that this hasn't really phased her, I guess also because it's been going on for so long. She's still winning races. She's like, I watched an interview with her from a couple days ago, and she was like, oh, you know, you can't like let the negativity get you down. And she sells her Nike sponsorship. It's like she's gonna be fine. Hopefully. Just that this ruling is hopefully going to bring a lot of criticism to the IAAF.
Right, because it definitely is clearly punishing. I think there is I think SB Nation mentioned like a group in South Africa that kind of was defending her and discussing like the way this is like obviously going to on like you mentioned like several axes of oppression, and it's like they're gonna they're punishing a woman from a global south in a sport that black women dominate in running rather than in like a sport that white women tend to traditionally dominate in, like javelin. So I'm hoping that people are going to be like, this sucks all around for everybody, and let Caster run her races. Like, Jesus.
I think maybe to close out this segment, I hopefully you don't have to, this isn't news to anyone who listened to this podcast, because surprise, I'm a trans woman, and our other hosts are as well. But this is an example of how transphobia can also affect cis people, just like how misogyny can affect men, like, or not, like how patriarchy can affect men.
Yeah, exactly.
It limits what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to be, when the reality is that biology doesn't work that way, and someone being a cis woman and having high testosterone doesn't make her not a woman, doesn't make her ineligible for womanhood. Just like my high testosterone doesn't make me ineligible for womanhood.
Exactly. Right. It's just kind of like another example of the ways where like we have to put gender in a box, otherwise this whole thing collapses, and it probably should collapse if this is the way that's going to be.
Yeah.
So good job on Caster for continuing to be cute and have a wife and run her races and just like hopefully make a lot of money through Nike and just like chill.
Yes.
Thank you, Caster.
Nike and chill.
Nike and chill.
That's when you run a lap and then fuck.
The classic thing that you want to do after you run like a lot is have sex.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna get more into. We're talking a lot about a lot of brands this week.
Sure are.
Oh man, so Verizon, our dear friends at Verizon have totally screwed up Tumblr, and I guess are looking to offload it. And
which, to be clear, I don't blame them for.
No, not at all, because they sold, like you've found some numbers earlier that I didn't realize it was sold to Yahoo for like $1 billion.
Yeah, so I pulled up like the history of Tumblr's acquisition history, which was that it was sold to Yahoo in 2013 for $1.1 billion. Nice. And by 2016, Yahoo had depreciated its value to about half that much. And that's for a lot of reasons, primarily because the Tumblr experience isn't really monetizable.
Right, yeah, it really is.
Like, their ads are still complete bottom of the barrel nonsense in a very funny way.
I love them so much.
Yeah, but those aren't making any money for Yahoo.
Right. And which Verizon now owns.
Right. So Verizon acquired Yahoo in 2017, and then in 2018, last December, the big content restriction happened, and third-party estimates have put the reduced traffic to the site at 30%. Woof. Which, honestly, I still use Tumblr every day, and my experience wasn't really affected by the content restriction because I wasn't like using Tumblr to look at porn. But I guess 30% of the users were.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the fact that like now if you're using Tumblr, like there's the flagging posts moderation thing. Like it just seemed like such a hassle at the beginning that I'm not surprised at all that traffic dipped and just kind of stayed dipped because I mean, I'm not, it does kind of sound like that, oh, yeah, the content restriction means that it was all a bunch of horny people using Tumblr. But, I mean, and while that may be true, it just is a kind of like the traffic dipped and is probably never recovered because the site code is still broken as hell. And it's like, well, why would I even bother if you guys are going to talk about like restrictions on female presenting nipples or whatever the hell? Like, why would I even use this site? Because yeah, I still use Tumblr. Like, I mostly just use it as like a post news, like a newspaper. Which like that one Tumblr post is like, you just open it up your dashboard and just read whatever's happening. And I like, you know, I still think it's funnier and where the good memes are born, I think, for the most part. But yeah, it's not monetizable, and that's kind of why I like using it, because it's not a algorithmically tailored nightmare the way that Twitter is and the way that Facebook is.
Yeah, and I guess kind of to both correct myself and dovetail into the next topic, or like the reason that we brought this up, is that the Tumblr was very monetizable before this restriction for one group of people, which was sex workers. And that was a large part of the drop-off, was that it was a really like an incredible place for sex workers to build a following anonymously, like safely, to field clients, to sell their wares, and like do it much more safely than anywhere else on the internet.
Yeah, they could,
and that's just gone now. Right.
They could, like, you know, establish a network of other sex workers and have, like, you know, their blogs were like, you're right, easily made anonymous. They were easily like able to be linked through to like PayPal and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was in the continuing Fosta Sesta like saga. It's another like, oh, we're claiming to protect, you know, victims of human trafficking, but it is in reality a way to punish sex workers for using a platform to make money. Exactly. Yeah.
And so the reason that is so relevant to this is that the story right now is that Pornhub is interested in acquiring Tumblr, and Pornhub is famously great for sex workers.
Oh yeah, totally. The good giant mega conglomerate of Pornhub, which is known for stealing content from sex workers and independent porn creators, and just kind of like trying to pretend that they're very woke, even though they're fucking Pornhub.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the like their publicity stunts, I guess this past winter, was they were gonna plow snow, and then someone, I don't have the links for this, but someone did like they were just trying to like follow up on that and ask like for interviews, and they couldn't find a single like witness to any Pornhub plow. Well, I mean, there are millions of witnesses to Pornhub plows, but
thank you.
But
snow
it was
plows,
basically
however,
snowplow. Yes, it was a publicity stunt with like one truck with a decal on it, like one picture of it. And when they tried to contact Pornhub, they were, I believe, put on hold and told they were waiting for an employee who didn't turn out to exist. So just a regular company,
like a regular company that we can definitely, you know, trust that their decisions are and efforts to quote unquote help people will follow through. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Also, something I didn't know until this came up is just like how like convoluted the stealing of content from sex workers is on Pornhub, because they're like a conglomerate. They own a lot of different porn sites.
Yeah.
But content from those porn sites like gets re-uploaded to Pornhub, meaning they monetize it twice, but the sex worker who like licensed that video or whatever only gets it once. From the people who are on that like that third party site that there's less traffic to, so they don't get nearly as much money as they deserve.
Right, exactly.
So fuck Pornhub.
I mean, what can I say except fuck Pornhub? And I would never, like, I can't imagine. It's like, oh, their big platform is like, oh, if we buy Tumblr, we'll like bring back the nudity and whatever. But like, I don't want to see like those like advertisements. If you play this game, you will come in 4 seconds. Like, I don't want to see that in this in the sidebar of like my dashboard. Like, I feel like that's what would end up happening, because
Yeah.
it would just be like, Tumblr brought to you by Pornhub. Here's some titties, and it's like
I didn't think of that because they're both very bottom of the barrel in terms of advertising.
Right, exactly. So it would become more and more penis enlargement pills and like, fake bot sex chat things. That would I think come into the rotation in addition to the refinancing your home loan. What do these celebrities look like now? Shit.
The chat bots would become a feature, not a bug.
Oh God, they would. Because we already have the anonymous porn robots on Tumblr, so there would just be like...
Yeah, that's something that people don't think about too much, is that like the entire point of the content restriction, to a certain extent, was to crack down on this like absurd proliferation of like porn bots, which was completely ineffective. Like there's still just millions of them. It's nonsense.
Yeah, so wherever you are, Mr. David Karp, I would...
Mr. Karp.
Mr.
Sir.
Karp, sir.
President Karp, sir.
I mean, the thing is that I think he sold the company and then, like, bounced. Like, he has not done anything since. So I'm sure he's like, I don't even really care what you do with it.
Yeah. He's too busy writing the Homestuck epilogues.
He's got a lot to do. He's trying to get the phone number of the guy who wore a tie as a belt. And it's like, are you still coding? Like, what's going on? Nobody tells me anything.
He just calls them up at once a week, like, hey guys, how are you? What's going on? I miss this.
Yeah, Tumbies? LOL, do you remember?
Tumbies?
Yeah.
They brought them back this year for April Fools. It was bad.
I saw that they brought a whole bunch of, like, the throwback posts, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this because it's gonna be like, oh, here are tags from when you were in a shitty relationship. Thanks.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. Like they randomly like trawled your blog for tags and like posts, and like generated posts containing those tags, but it had nothing checking what the content of the tags was.
Right, because a lot of people actually use those tags so that they can filter out content for other people.
Right, but that's a third party. That's a third party like feature. So they have to pretend that nobody does it. Because if they like admit that X can exist, then they just turn to dust.
Yep, they will.
Anyway,
God.
Anyway, Tumblr sucks shit.
Tumblr is. I mean,
I love it. It's my house. It's my shitty house made of logs of doo-doo.
I will be sad if it ever eventually does, like, the servers shut down and they stop, because I think that a lot of like nice things have come of it. A lot of bullshit, to be sure. And I'm sure, like, because in looking at this story for for the episode we were recording, I was like trying to think back of like all the greatest hits of Tumblr drama, but it's a shitty little house. You're right. And I mean,
this podcast wouldn't exist without Tumblr.
Exactly. It's a shitty little house, but we're home.
It's our shitty.
We're homestuck.
We're homestuck.
One might say.
What one could say that we're homestuck in our shitty little house.
One could say that, and one could also say, listen to Hamsteak, the podcast about Homestuck, which I realized actually not too long ago that I followed you, Alex Leafcrunch, on Tumblr, and listened to Hamsteak, and I think you had mentioned post Game of Thrones, and I think that is how I got into listening to post Game of Thrones.
That is so funny.
It is very fun to think about.
That is wild.
Yes, and now because of post Game of Thrones, now I am the way that I am, and
oops.
Great stuff from Brian Cogman, as always.
Great stuff from Brian Cogman. Great stuff from David Denioff.
I'm not closing on Sunday, so I can actually watch it and complain.
Nice.
So,
we can all yell together.
Right.
We cannot talk about Game of Thrones anymore.
No, we can't. Right, we can't. Oops. We cannot do it. All right. So today, really quick, I wanted to... So I watched this documentary on HBO. It's a very...
HBO?
Yeah, speaking
Home
of
Game of Thrones.
Home of Game of Thrones.
So I'm looking forward to you telling me about this, because I have no idea what this is. I'm just going to open a beeb first. That is a very foamy beeb.
Whoa!
Sorry, go ahead.
That was amazing. The audio.
Oh god.
The ASMR.
It's on my laptop. Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties. It fizzed over onto my laptop.
The Beeb ASMR that I just experienced was amazing.
I don't think it got a keyboard. It should be fine. Okay. Continue, please.
Yes. All right. So, back in like 2014, this lady named Elizabeth Holmes kind of made a startup called Theranos, which was meant to basically replace like ordering your like blood test results from like your doctor. So like if you've ever gotten like your like a blood test done at the doctor, they'll like send it off to like Quest Diagnostics or somebody, and they'll like send you a bill and they'll like do the whole thing. So her startup was essentially like, we're going to disrupt this. And instead of having to take like all these tubes of blood, we're only going to have like one drop of blood, be able to screen for like all of these diseases and hormones in your blood, using this fancy machine, which will like automate the whole thing. So she basically kind of modeled the whole documentary is called The Inventor on HBO. And it's based on a book by this guy from the Wall Street Journal, John Carreyrou, and it's kind of all about her kind of modeling herself as like a Steve Jobs figure of like, oh, she was gonna like how Silicon Valley was all about like disruption and how she was going to like she was like this intense lady CEO, and she managed to like get all of these investors and like people on her board, like General Mattis and Henry Kissinger and like all of these really powerful old dudes.
I know that guy.
Yeah, you may have heard of him. She got all these like, she basically was able to kind of like get involved in these like very wealthy men's lives, and as almost like she was like their like granddaughter or like as a mentor figure. Like she was just very able to like get these connections, and so was able to kind of run this company for a really long time, even though it was not doing basically any of the things she claimed it was doing. Like they were faking demos of the machine. Like they had the machine set up, and like people would come in, like investors would come in, and they would do the prick of blood, and then they'd put it in the machine, and they're like, okay, we'll come back later. And while they were gone, a lab technician would literally go in, take the blood out of the machine, run to the lab, do the tests manually, and then run it back and put it in the machine. It's like, oh, it worked.
Oh my god.
It's a pretty wild story, and I do want to read the book eventually. It's called Bad Blood, but
it's a good title.
It's a very like fun documentary to like learn the story and like really get to know her and like the way that she kind of was able to take data and like science, and essentially, because I think she understood that like there's a bias to think in science that like the data doesn't lie, like you can't manipulate science in any way. And but like the story that she told about herself and how she tried to model herself after like Steve Jobs and Thomas Edison, it was like, it's so interesting. And I think, and you know, the company actually dissolved in 2018, and she and like the her co-president were both like, you know, tried for fraud, and there were a bunch of depositions about this company and the fact that like it was, you know, doing this huge rollout in like Walgreens, even though the machines were not working, and the results were maybe like 47% correct. Like,
so, you know, a normal margin of error.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good kind of like story of this particular company, and also kind of I feel like she was I wonder also, like, because other like Silicon Valley dudes, like Mark Zuckerberg, has like evidence has shown he has probably made the world a worse place. But like he's still, you know, this rich person who hasn't been tried for anything, but like just kind of maybe the way that she was like, oh, she's this master manipulator, we can't let her take our money. But
yeah,
men do it all the time. But the thing,
men be.
So actually, one brief thing that really cracked me up was Henry Kissinger was on her board, and one of the journalists they talked to for the documentary had like audio from him of like what he thought about Theranos and Elizabeth. And apparently the board meetings would like take a really long time. They would like last all day. And Henry Kissinger opened his mouth and said, oh yeah, what I will say about Elizabeth is these day-long board meetings are a human rights violation. He said that. He said that with his mouth. Like, he made it.
You can just say whatever you want.
You could just say whatever the fuck you want. Oh my god, it was so unnerving to like listen to him talk and make that joke and like be a person that journalists were like interested in talking to, because I mean, to me, he's
oh my god. I mean, he got away with it. He's lived a whole 2.5 human lives with no consequences. Like, no matter what we do to him now, like he can make those jokes.
Right. They gave him a Nobel Peace Prize in the 70s. Like, he could just do whatever.
They gave him a Nobel Peace Prize 200 Christian years ago.
God, when will it be Kissinger? I ask you. Not
anyway,
a threat. Not a threat, but
not a threat. Of course. I just want to say, I know something else that Theranos dissolved in 2018, which was half the population. Thanks.
It's purple. And he's purple.
And he's purple.
And he was in Fortnite, and it was a good joke. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. But I kind of missed most of what you said for the past 2 minutes because I was thinking about that. But you got me back with Henry Kissinger.
He always brings us back together.
Yeah. But yeah, that I remember hearing a Sawbones episode about Theranos, so I did know that it was absolutely buck wild. I just didn't remember the name. Yeah,
it's a pretty good watch. And
yeah.
I think there's a ABC News podcast also about it called The Dropout, I think. So there's like so many ways for you to hear this story. Love a potted cast. So that's
true.
I'm gonna probably check that out too.
Nice.
So I heard, to pivot to, I heard Doug Ford tweeted "Hey you up."
Doug Ford essentially, he didn't tweet "Hey you up," but someone did tweet a screenshot of Doug Ford saying, "Hey, you up." So what this is, I didn't want to give you context because that's a funny headline. But so for those who don't remember, Doug Ford is the Premier of Ontario. That is the largest and most populated province in Canada. He is a reactionary, right-wing, populist grifter with no political background or scruples. He might sound familiar.
He does sound familiar.
So what if Donald Trump had no personality or charisma?
Okay.
In the way that he has charisma, like the negative. So instead of negative charisma, what if he had neutral charisma?
Okay.
So Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, the God Emperor of Ontario, apparently gives his phone number out to people, to citizens, which, like that. Maybe if he was a person who cared about what his constituents had to say, he would do this. So this reporter, I believe, on Twitter, Daniel Enright, at This Is Up Country on Twitter, he texted Doug Ford, "Why are people losing their jobs when you say they wouldn't?" Like a simple to the point question about his policy. And Doug Ford responded, "Daniel, are you still up? 2 days. Do you have a minute for a call?" So Daniel and Doug shot the shit at midnight on April 25th. So couple weeks ago.
God.
And basically, I maybe I'll link to this Twitter thread in the show notes because I don't want to read the whole thing. But basically, the gist is that Doug wasn't aware of some of the policies announced by his government.
Oh, good. That also sounds familiar.
Yeah. He's not like a 76-year-old, probably not mentally fit person, though. He's just like a mobster into his thick, sweaty neck. Who doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know what his people are doing. And I mean, it's terrifying. Right. But honestly, having actual, evidence that he doesn't know what's going on, he's not, it's not like a master plan, it's just, complete incompetency. Right. Doesn't make things better, but it makes me a bit more relieved that,
right, it's not,
yeah.
it's does he look like a man with a plan kind of evil,
Exactly. It's pretty twisted.
It seems like he's pretty twisted. And I'm really sorry, Ontario, that you have the Joker as your premier.
Doug Joker.
Doug Joker.
The thing is that our premier is Doug Joker, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Damn. We live in a society.
We live in a province.
We live in a province.
Anyway, yeah, I'll link to this thread because it's pretty interesting. But yeah, that was my Canada update.
Thank you for the Canada update. Because
you're welcome.
It's nice to get a little bit of perspective on my myopic American, so this shit just is like this now. That they're not everywhere else is doing very well either. So that's comforting? No, it's not comforting.
It's something. The devil you know.
Yeah, that's true. And again, it's good to not just be a dumb American who's Trump is bad and the only bad thing in the world is Trump, because that's certainly not true. So when we were planning out this episode, Sam of the show, Canning, wanted to talk about the Burger King. Oh, what's right here? What is that?
I want a munch!
Squad! Squad.
I want too much.
Squad.
Folks, it's a podcast within a podcast. It's Munch Squad. This is not licensed. This is not copyright TMCR. My brother and me. But we couldn't not talk about this, I guess, because Sam said so.
Sam is like, this is what I have to bring today. So, Burger King. So apparently May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Are you guys aware? Great. Yeah, are you guys aware of mental health? Because
have you heard the good word of mental health?
So, the brands that we love have some opinions and feelings about mental health, including Burger King. The Burger King has paired with a charity called the Mental Awareness Foundation or something. Let me double
the Mental Awareness Foundation. that can't be right. That can't be right.
The Fight Every Battle in Your Mind All the Time Foundation.
The Drink and Know Things Foundation.
So it's basically these collection of real meals. They've paired with a charity. Let me actually find the name of the charity, and I will keep my ad blocker on for this. Thank you. So the Mental Health America charity is basically trying to come up with an awareness campaign for Mental Health Awareness Month. So they've decided that in certain regions of the country, Miami, LA, Austin, New York, they have these special limited edition meals that are called the Real Meals. And they all come with a Whopper and fries and a drink, and they have different attitudes. So ordering a Whopper based on how you're feeling. And there are 5 feelings. So
folks, meals aren't just happy anymore.
Right. It's not just a happy meal, it's a real meal. And so
shots fired.
Here are the emotions that one could have when you are
Please tell me the 5
Whopper.
emotions.
Okay, well they include the blue meal. Blue.
Okay.
The salty meal. You feeling salty. The Yas meal.
The third emotion.
The third emotion of Yas Queen.
Yas.
And there is the
more like Yas King, because it's the Burger King.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and the DGAF the Don't Give a Fuck meal.
Sure.
And then the pissed meal.
Now, it might just be me, but it seems like there's a certain color that the pissed meal should be.
You would think that it would be like it is red, but it probably should have been maybe like a.
It probably shouldn't be red. If it's red, you should go to a doctor.
Oh, absolutely, definitely go to a doctor if your pissed meal is red. But the thing is that I didn't realize. I saw this post going around like that this was happening, but before the recording, Sam alerted me to a song that they have released alongside it, which is a rap song about feeling however you feel, and just let me feel the way that I do about certain things. And it includes things like, oh, I got ghosted. I feel like I'm going to be alone forever. Or I
got ghosted. That makes me blue and pissed. like they should at least relate these to the names of the meals.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the Yas meal, it's good. Is the thing.
It's good, and Yas is also purple. I'm seeing, which is a royal color. So that really backs up my Yas King theory, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. It does. They have little little lines on the box too. So we're instead of like a Happy Meal smile, it's like, oh, I'm salty, so my mouth is a flat line. Or I'm
Yeah.
pissed, so I have a Wario W on my
What's
box.
what's that word? Like the shirts that are awful that people have like anime faces.
Oh,
That are like in. Go ahead.
the ones
Like
Ego or something.
yeah, something like that. What if that was one of them?
That would suck, and I would hate to see it, and I would call the police. But
Understandable. Oh, thank you.
this
Lid in the chat has told us that the word is aheyago or ahegao. Great. What if there was an ahegao meal?
What if there was, though?
The secret sixth emotion.
Umami, the Daniel emotion.
The damn Daniel emotion.
But I think I'm gonna want to include a link to this song in the show notes too, because it is very bad. And the different emotions are also like, oh look, society thinks I can't raise my daughter because I'm too young, or oh I'm being bullied because somebody wrote skank on my locker. It's quite an experience. So I just wanted to say thank you to Sam for enlightening me that this is a real thing that they're doing. And also,
Thank you,
I'm
Sam.
very. It sucks to me that brands just do this, and it's like, oh, it doesn't even have to be like good. It's just, oh, this is going to be like bad on purpose, and we're still going to get people to pay attention to it.
Yeah. I guess actually that reminds me of something we didn't put in the notes, but maybe we should talk a little bit about Sonic.
Oh, the blue hedgehog who we love to see.
The little man, the manlet with the planlet. So the trailer came out and everyone hated to see him, except Sam, I guess. But so many people hated to see it that the director or someone was like, "We hear you loud and clear, and we will redesign the character," with no announcement of a pushing back the release date of the movie, which means one of two things. One means that the VFX team will be doing like maybe 3 years of work in 6 months. The second thing, which I want to believe, is that this means that this trailer was a psyop and they've had the revised design the whole time and have been doing the movie with that, and they did this trailer to make everyone feel like the new design was better, even though it's still bad.
I see. So it could be like a real trailer will come out, and the plot of the movie will actually be about Sonic being bullied and being called all these terrible things. Like they're going to use our tweets in the new trailer.
Now that would be good.
Yeah, Sonic is cyberbullied, and he has to learn to love his friends and himself.
Tails gets trolled, Sonic gets cyberbullied.
It's just the movie. It's just Tails gets trolled. I can't wait.
Tails gets trolled 2019.
Oh man, I'd pay a ticket. I'd buy several tickets. Wait in line. Can't wait.
And they would like have to have gay shit in the movie. Like they couldn't put it behind like a
Right!
censor.
Oh my
They couldn't
God.
have like a single person mention their same-sex partner in a single scene and get applauded for it. They would have to have Bugs Bunny do all sorts of gay shit.
Right, and he doesn't like to do it, but it's a good way to troll people.
Yeah, I haven't read the comic, but that's what I know about it.
I actually really like that theory much, but like because the fact that it sounds like, oh, these are probably things that the designers and VFX artists said like years ago about this design. And
Exactly, yeah.
they were like, no, it's fine, no, it's fine. And then everybody hated it. And so now they're like, well, now you have to crunch. And it's really horrible. I hope that does not happen.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, people are like, oh, you could just, like, superimpose different eyes over this Sonic, and it would be fine. It wouldn't take that long. And those people have no idea how animation works. This would take, like, years of work to actually pull off.
Right.
And so the idea of it being done from scratch in 6 months is almost unimaginable, but considering how... fun fact, the VFX industry, unlike the actor industry, that's not the word for it, unlike the actors of Hollywood, is not unionized, and so there's a lot more crunch and other such labor problems in the VFX industry, and that is not unrelated to the reason why there are so many VFX movies. So, fuck capitalism, basically.
I feel like that is a pretty good summary of all of the topics this week and every week. I think we could have just said that and had a 2-second episode. Right. I mean, we did talk about brands a lot, but TBH, fuck capitalism.
Fuck capitalism.
God, I feel bad now for opening with a celebration of frappuccinos.
Hey, listen. Fuck capitalism, but marshmallow whipped cream is good.
It is good, is the problem. And I'm working tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., so I'm really looking forward to all of that fun capitalism tomorrow. And all that. Just
chomp down on some.
Yep.
Oh, man. Now I want to have, like, a marshmallow whipped cream with a double shot of espresso.
Ooh. Yes. Damn. Innovator. That's the thing yes, it's good.
Yeah. Do you want to go to Lightbringers?
Let's go to Lightbringers, yes. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My Lightbringer is a YouTube channel called World Building Notes. And it is a very well-produced animation series done by one person whose name is, I believe it's pronounced Iwa. I think she's Polish. It's EWA something last name. I don't know her last name, but it's World Building Notes on YouTube, and she draws very detailed but also very pleasingly cartoonish fantasy people, and describes in incredible detail what their lives are like.
Nice.
And it's part of it is like her explaining to you how to like world build, and part of it is like just describing her own world building exercises. And it's just very satisfying to watch her. Like, one of her first videos is building out an entire ecosystem on an island with like 42 different plants and like 15 different animals and like a bunch of different fungus. And the way she does it is like, if you just like take each letter of the alphabet and like make a fungus that kind of looks like that, it's really easy to make 26 of them.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's just it was very satisfying to watch. It's very cool to see someone very dedicated to such small details that just make her world seem so fleshed out. And it's good practice for people who want to like tell stories in fantasy worlds, which I do.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's awesome.
It's good. What's your Lightbringer?
So I'm gonna bring a little known artist. I think that a lot of people will really appreciate discovering, that I've never talked about before. It is Beyonce.
Oh. Now I know her from her work with Destiny's Child. Are you saying that she went on to have a solo career?
Yes, she did.
Oh.
So she did. She actually headlined Coachella last year, and so she decided to like make a whole documentary documenting that performance and release like a live album with all of the songs from it, and it's so good. It's just, I really enjoy hearing, like, I've seen her live once in my life, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, and hearing the way that she like mixes different songs together, like her songs and songs that she just likes and likes dancing to is really fun. And I think that is a very good live album. I think it's like mixed really well, so you can like hear her and not just like hear people screaming the whole time. And
Nice.
also it's marching band music, which always sounds really good to me. I like to hear it. And
Marching band music is very satisfying to listen to.
it's really good. She got all of these like really talented musicians and dancers from different HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities like around the country, and basically modeled it after a homecoming at one of their colleges. And it's just very, very cool, and she sounds great, and she looks great, and it's good, and it's very inspiring because she put out this whole documentary about the process of like, it's a 2-hour performance, and she was rehearsing for like 8 months, and she had just had babies, and like she talks a lot
Damn.
about, and she also has like a really good conversation about like rehearsing and how nobody wants to look dumb, and doesn't like, that's why you don't want to like practice things, because you're like, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to look foolish, I just don't want to. And it's just like,
Sounds right.
yeah. And it was just very like, it's always nice when somebody like that is like, I'm actually like a person, and I work incredibly hard to make this stuff happen, and you know, I don't expect anybody else to be able to do this level of preparation for something, but it's still like, she wants you to kind of she wants everybody that she works with to do well, and to practice, and like push through that insecurity to get good. And I just thought that was a really good thing to hear from her. And it's just thank you, Beyonce, for
Very cool.
for
Thank you, Beyonce.
so yeah, that's my light bringer.
Well, I can see your halo
Yes.
because of your Lightbringer.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you like it, you should have put a halo on it. Lightbringer. Other songs. To the light, to the light. That's
Everything
enough.
you know.
Okay. So thank you very much to all of our patrons for helping us do this. We couldn't do this without you.
Seriously, we could not do it without you.
If you weren't here, we wouldn't be doing this. I have the patron list up here if you want me to read them.
I also have it, so
We could do like a trade-off, or
one you
like a
say
one
go back and forth. You say one name, I say one name.
yeah.
All
Let's
right,
do that.
Let's do it. So, yeah, we have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/HKIPGTD. And we do a lot of fun, cool things with your support. At the $1 level, you get access to all of our bonus content, which is like longer Lightbringers and just kind of like ephemera, like cool stuff that we've written, or you know, all of the fun bonus stuff that we accrue in our recording. And then at the $5 level, you get a special role in our Discord, making you a comrade of the show, and you can get a shout out on the podcast, which we will do here in a little bit. And then for $10 a month, you can get all of that plus an even more special role in our Discord, which allows you to listen to the episodes as they happen, and you can hear our voices go all robotic, and beebs being opened, and cats in the background, and it's a very fun time. So thank you for listening live.
Thank you. Yeah.
And now we will... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes. Correct. So thank you to Roan the Other V. Berg, Stephanie Ruff, David Besser, Burgermeister, Springo Zuma Kuboinga Boingi, Puis No Steppy, Dr. Aki Visionary, Alex Schaup, Pregnant Seinfeld, Fully Automated Luxury Gay Space Hellcat, Six-Armed Sweater, Michael Weems, Mogu, Kangaria, Hank Hill's Hentai Hankering, Florian Siegel, The Tallest Jew, Tufster McGee, Siberian Pine Hardwood, Ellen the Anarcho-Lalandiest, Evan, Actual Socialist Elon Musk, Nick Verne, Summer Geist, Ollie Enders, Alex Hoot, Bryant, Sophie, Chaz Goblin, Nick Clarkson, Maximilian Rower, Destryhawk, Kadeho, Cersei's Floor Map, Non-Binary with Left Beef, Helga K, Dick Butt is the Real Jesus, Pierre the Disaster, Dijonais, and Paul Blart Fleshcart.
Thank you so much.
A couple new names in there. I liked it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your good names, and thank you so much for supporting this fun thing that we get to do where we get to hang out. Just some podcast buds. So thank you.
Just two girls sitting pod feed a cast because they are gay.
Yep. That's us. Oh, we've got all of our stuff. So you can find us on all the social medias at HKIPGTD. We have... God, we have so much. But you can find us on Twitter and Tumblr. If you want to send in questions, you can do that through Twitter and Tumblr whenever we call for questions. Sometimes we'll remember to do that too. And we we also want to thank the Taxpayers for the use of our theme song, Evil Men, off of the album Cold Hearted Town. And we thank them so much that we get to listen to that good jam every single week when there's an episode. And
truly incredible that they gave us that jam.
Join our Discord as well. And we are on Spotify. We've done it.
We are. We did it.
We have uploaded to Spotify, and we want to thank
shit.
What?
We forgot to talk about what's it called? Luminary. We're on Spotify, we're not on Luminary. Fuck Luminary.
Oh, fuck Luminary, yes. So, real quick, Luminary is a podcast aggregator app that
it's all venture capital.
Yeah.
They scraped the barrel of iTunes and put every single podcast on their platform, which would be fine. That's how podcatchers work, except that they run their own ads on stuff and they remove ads from people's show notes. You have to opt out by emailing them. Yep. It's a total
it's not going great.
It's not going great. Fuck them.
Yeah, really.
This is our content, and you can't run your own ads on it. Unless you're Spotify, in which case we let you.
Yeah. Unless you're Spotify, because at least, with the Spotify Premium, at least, you don't have the ads. But we are on Spotify. Fuck Luminary.
We are. Yep.
And we are able to be on Spotify and come directly to your ears thanks to our podcast network, Noisepace.xyz.
Noisepace.
Now, it's a podcast network.
It is, and it's now on Patreon. There are no rewards for being a patron besides knowing that you're contributing to a really great little network of podcasts. At least for the time being. It's just to help Matt of the show cover server costs and allow this little thing to keep on chugging.
Mm-hmm. So we have so many, amazing shows on that network, which you can definitely go listen to at noisepace.xyz. And those shows include things like Jerkin' It,
My Pod Cabbages,
Stuck in the Middle with You,
a fourth one,
Fear Baiting.
So many podcasts. I need to take a page out of. I think Linus said he's giving a listen to one episode at least of each one to know who is whose comrades on the podcast network are, and I think that's a good idea. I need to do that.
There's a podcast about Tumblr called the Ask Box. That's pretty new. If you liked our Tumblr discussion and are like, I really enjoy thinking about old school Tumblr, let me go do a deep dive into Glee fanfiction. That whole era. Yeah. Thank you to the Ask Box for doing that important historical work. And yeah, there's so many other amazing shows there. I pulled it up, the link, and look at that. There's The Stick. There's the Podcasting is Forbidden in the Cloud Recesses podcast that Roy does. City Girls Make Do. The Island Shuffle. The Wonder Years. Giants Confirmed. So many great shows.
So many great shows. So many great friends. Thank you again to Matt of the show for putting all this together and keeping it together and growing it and introducing me to new friends and new podcasts.
Thank you so much, Matt. And thank you to all of our listeners. And I think that's podcast.
I think that's podcast. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe out there in the cloud recesses. I don't know what the podcast's about.
It's an anime.
I mean, I know conceptually what it's about. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the content. But this has been Henry Kissinger, Is Pokemon Going to Die? Not a Threat.
Just a fact.
And Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori, everyone.
Not everybody wakes up happy. Sometimes you feel sad, scared, crappy. All I ask is that you let me feel my way.
Feeling blue. Kinda down. Can't wait to leave this closed-minded town.
My boss is such a freaking creep. I just told him to go f himself.
When I'm feeling weird or sappy, not angry, just not happy. All I ask is that you let me feel my way.
I can't believe my student loan. I'm never moving.